She had one scene. One, and somehow, out of an entire 3-hour, multiverse-spanning superhero movie packed with A-list stars, that one scene became one of the most beloved moments in the whole film. In this video, we're remembering Mary Agita Rivera, the woman behind Ned's Lola in Spider-Man No Way Home, who passed away at 82. We'll get into how a retired missionary with 0 acting experience ended up sharing the screen with 3 generations of Spider-Man, what actually happened behind the scenes to land her the role, and how her family and Jacob Batalon himself are remembering her now. This isn't just a casting story, it's a genuinely sweet one. Mary Agita Rivera was born on June 2, 1943 in Iloilo, Philippines. Long before anyone in Hollywood knew her name, she'd already lived a full life. She worked as a missionary, a teacher, a radio broadcaster. She eventually settled in Hawaii, where she raised her family and spent decades doing the kind of quiet, community-centered work that never makes headlines. She had no professional acting credits. None. Spider-Man No Way Home wasn't just her breakout role, it was her only one. Here's the part people love once they hear it. Rivera's granddaughter, Angie Kelly, stumbled across an open casting call on Facebook. Marvel was looking for a local Filipina grandmother in Hawaii. Kelly encouraged her to try out. Rivera, in her 70s at the time, with no formal training and no reel, said yes. And instead of performing a traditional audition scene, she reportedly won the filmmakers over just by talking. About immigrating from the Philippines. About raising her kids. About her life. No script. Just her. Being genuinely her. That authenticity is apparently what got her cast in one of the biggest movies of the decade. If you've seen No Way Home, you know exactly which scene this is. Ned, played by Jacob Batalon, and Mjur, played by Zendaya, open a magical portal, trying to pull their Peter Parker, Tom Holland's version, back home. Instead, they accidentally rip a hole into the multiverse. Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker stumbles through first, and nobody in that room has any idea who he is. That's when Lola gets involved. She's terrified, understandably, watching a stranger appear out of thin air in her living room. Mo asks Garfield to prove he's actually Spider-Man. So he does the simplest, most Spider-Man thing possible. He sticks himself to the ceiling. And Lola's reaction isn't fear anymore. It's mild annoyance. She looks up at him, and in Tagalog asks him to clean the cobwebs while he's up there. Ned translates. The whole theater laughs. It's one line, delivered by a first-time actress in her 80s, and it steals the scene from 3 separate Spider-Men. Later in the film, when Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker also arrives through the portal, Rivera's Lola scolds both of them in Filipino for the mess they're making, calls her grandson a little Salaman Caro, basically, a magician, and calmly announces, in English, "I'm going to bed." Then she walks off. It's maybe 90 seconds of screen time total. It became one of the most quoted moments in the film. According to her obituary, Rivera was, in her own words, very proud to take on the role as the Filipino grandmother. She got to share a scene with Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Jamie Foxx, Zendaya, and Jacob Batalon, a genuinely stacked cast for what started as a local casting call in Hawaii. For a lot of Filipino and Filipino-American viewers, that scene wasn't just comic relief. It was representation, delivered in Tagalog, inside one of the biggest Marvel movies ever made, without translation getting in the way of the joke landing. That mattered to people, and it clearly mattered to Rivera, too. Rivera died on April 15th, 2026, in Honolulu, according to her family and obituary. A relative told TMZ she suffered a stroke and was placed on life support. Doctors reportedly told the family that even if she woke from the coma, her prognosis wouldn't be good. Facing that reality, the family made the decision to remove her from life support. TMZ first reported her passing publicly on Monday, August 3rd. She's survived by her husband, Alejandro Rivera, her children, Carmela Jones, Paul Rivera, Edwin Rivera, and Angela Kelly, 11 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. A celebration of life was held on June 6th at Trinity Central Oahu Church at Mililani Tech Park. Jacob Batalon, who played her on-screen grandson, shared a brief tribute online. Rest in paradise, Lola. Fans had been posting their own messages, too. One tribute on Facebook read in part, "Thank you for representing the Filipino community with such grace and pride when you portrayed Ned Leeds Lola in Spider-Man No Way Home. You will forever be loved, cherished, and missed." Palampo, Lola, another, referencing a line from The Sound of Music that Rivera had shared with them in one of their last conversations, wrote that she left without saying goodbye, but that the legacy she modeled for her culture, her language, and her community lives on. Mary Aguida Rivera spent most of her life outside the spotlight, as a missionary, a teacher, a broadcaster, a grandmother. Then, in her 70s, she stepped in front of a camera for the first and only time and gave millions of people around the world a moment of joy, culture, and unmistakable Filipino grandma energy that no script could have manufactured. She wasn't a career actress. She didn't need to be. One honest scene was enough to make her unforgettable. Rest well, Lola.